Let's make some lasagna from scratch. It was a gloomy day outside, so what better way to spend it than cooking a comforting meal? I started off by making my mozzarella cheese. I added some milk, citric acid, and ran it to my pot, let that sit, and then sliced it all up. Transferred my curds to a cheesecloth to let all the whey drain out. Let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes, and then when all the whey was drained out, I added it back to the pot with my heated up whey and stretched it. Once it was shiny and smooth, I formed it into a ball and placed that in some cold water. Then I made a really simple pasta dough with some eggs, flour, olive oil, and salt. Kneaded that until it was all smooth and then wrapped it in some plastic wrap to rest for about 30 minutes to an hour. My favorite part of cooking any meal is chopping, so we started chopping up some carrots really finely, some celery, and some onion. You can use purple onion or white onion. I just love a good purple onion. And then I brown my meat in my Dutch oven. Add my vegetables, some tomato paste, some crushed tomatoes, and some herbs. I let that simmer for about 30 minutes to 45 while I prep my lasagna sheets. I cut my dough into 8 pieces and then rolled them out into rectangles. When it was about time to assemble, I made a quick bechamel sauce to go in between my layers and then started putting it all together. I put down a layer of the ragu, some bechamel, then my lasagna sheets, and then kept repeating that until I reached the top. At this point, I took my mozzarella, sliced it up, and layered it on top. I decided to only do one layer, but feel free to add any other cheese that you want. And then I popped that in the oven for 35 minutes and pulled it out, and it came out so perfect. But since I couldn't wait, I burnt my tongue with that first bite. People tend to think that I don't eat for some odd reason, just because I cook a lot for my husband, but obviously I eat too. So here's what I ate today. I had some hot lemon water with a little bit of honey. I do this every time my throat hurts a little bit. And then I had avocado toast this morning. This avocado was perfect. I added some finely diced red onion to it, salt, pepper, some cumin. Oh, and lemon juice. Then I sliced up this heirloom tomato. I'm so sad tomato season's coming to an end. Also, toast your bread in the pan with some olive oil. It's a game changer. It's so good. I added the tomato on top, some cilantro, some chili, and then I had an orange with that. The combination of feta cheese, avocado, and tomato is just so good to me. Then Rumble needed me to model this hat for her while I finished off my breakfast. Then for lunch, I made this sauteed cabbage. I don't even know what to call this dish, but I cut my cabbage in wedges and then cut up some halloumi, seasoned that with some mint and za'atar. Then I roasted my veggies in the oven while I charred my cabbage. And then I assembled it all in a little bowl. I also made a lemon honey tahini dressing to go on top, and this was really, really good. Lucky's not really into vegetarian meals, so I made him try this and he actually really enjoyed it. I ended up having a little bit more of it after this bowl. I'm on a quest to find the best healthy soda, so I've just been working my way through a bunch of them. And then for dinner, I wanted something really comforting and warm, so I decided to make a chuck roast. This is really easy to just prep, and then you put it in the oven for 3 hours and you just kind of forget about it. And then when the house starts smelling really good, you pull it out. So I added some red wine, stock, thyme, carrots, potatoes, and the roast. Oh, I also made myself a beverage. I made an iced lavender tea before I pulled the roast out of the oven. I haven't had a roast in a while, and this was really, really good. I ended up also putting some leftover cabbage on my plate from lunch, and this was so comforting. Later that night, I needed something sweet, so I had these frozen grapes and some dried mango. I'm in Germany right now, and this is what I ate today. Started off with my usual cup of tea and my supplements. Yesterday, I got this vanilla yogurt that I was so excited to have in the morning. Had that with some strawberries, and these were the best strawberries I've had in a long time. Then my sister made some waffles, and this is the only way I eat waffles and pancakes. A bunch of applesauce and powdered sugar. Just trust me on it. To tide me over, I had some lentil chips because I was meeting a friend for some cinnamon rolls, and these were still warm in the middle. Then I was feeling really nostalgic, so I went to this kebab shop that I've been going to for 15 years now, and I got a lahmacun. I don't know whether that's how you pronounce it, but I get it every time. It has meat, veggies, and sauce on it. It's the best thing ever. I used to get it every Friday when I lived in Germany, and I haven't grown sick of it. After that, I had some burek, and then for dinner, I had some asparagus salad and some fish. Here's everything my husband eats in a day / what I cook him in a day. I love cooking for people that I care about. It's just my love language. So this is not something that's expected of me. This is just something I enjoy doing. Anyways, let's start off with breakfast. I make him a bagel sandwich. So it's white cheddar, salami, prosciutto, and then I pickled some onions the other day. So he has that on an everything bagel, and then obviously he has to have hot sauce. He's very specific with how he likes his bagels, so I've kind of adapted it to what he likes. The kids also love these. They always come to steal bites. He has about 4 of those, and then I make him a cup of tea. It's usually rooibos tea with milk and sugar. Then it was about 11, so he had a little snack with pickles and tahini. These are the best pickles. I get them at Whole Foods. Please go try them. You'll not be disappointed. Then it was lunchtime, so I made some spicy vodka pasta with some lemon garlic broccolini. We're not a big snack household, so we usually don't have any snacks. We just have 3 big meals. Sometimes if we get super hungry and have breakfast really early in the morning, we do tend to have a little snack before lunch, but that doesn't really happen a lot. I learned that you have to salt your pasta water when it's come to a boil so that it doesn't take forever to get really hot. But here's just me mixing up the pasta. This was so good. I ended up having a little plate of it as well. And sometimes Lucky has some work to do, so I just brought it to him in the room. And obviously, I have to try his food before he has it to check for poison. I'm just kidding. I just love eating food off of other people's plates. It tastes so much better to me. But he enjoyed it. He had 2 plates of that, and then around 5 or 6, I usually make dinner. So today I made some potatoes. I roasted those in the oven and made a quick little side salad with just some lettuce we had over, carrots, cucumber, some goat cheese, and pickled onions. And then I seared my steaks. I'm not the best at making steaks, I have to be really honest, so they were a little overdone, but still good nevertheless. And then I dressed the salad and I made a little parsley garlic butter for the potatoes. Here's everything my husband eats in a day / what I cook for him. I love cooking for the people I care about. It's not something that's expected of me or something that I need to do. I just love doing it. So for breakfast today, I made some pancakes. Lucky usually prefers savory breakfast, so when he does request sweet breakfast, I get so excited. So I made some fluffy pancakes, and a lot of you know, if you've been around for a while, that I'm not the best at making pancakes, but I'm getting better and better. So I made those, topped them with some homemade buttermilk syrup, some powdered sugar, and some berries. Lucky had 3 plates of this, and then I decided to make him some tea. Today we switched it up. It was peppermint tea with lemon and honey. And then lunchtime rolled around, and I decided to make another sheet pan dish, but today I decided to make a harissa chicken one. So I sliced up some normal potatoes, sweet potatoes, and then marinated my chicken in some harissa, seared it off, and then pulled my potatoes out the oven, put chicken, chickpeas, some broccoli, and onions back on the sheet pan, popped it back in the oven. In the meantime, I made this cilantro tahini dressing to go over it, and I plated it all up. This was actually so good, especially with the charred lemon and the tahini dressing. Lucky enjoyed it so much that he ended up having half of that sheet pan. So I would say that's a successful meal. And then for dinner, I was in a fall mood today, so I decided to make some sage chicken meatballs with some pumpkin risotto. So I soaked some sourdough bread, cut up some shallots and some herbs, sauteed those in butter. And I put my chicken, bread, the herbs, salt and pepper, some parm in a bowl and formed those into tiny meatballs. Actually weren't that tiny. And then put them in the oven. In the meantime, I made my risotto. I can do a full recipe on this if you guys want to, but this is a meal that you constantly have to stand by and watch because you have to ladle the stock into the rice every time it evaporates. And I topped it with some parsley, goat cheese, and the meatballs, and I obviously had to try and see how good it was, and it was really good. Here's everything my husband ate in a day / what I cooked for him. I just want to say that I love cooking for people I care about, and this is not something that's expected of me. This is just something I love doing. And also, yes, my husband does eat a lot. So let's get started with some breakfast. I made some savory French toast with some arugula salad on top. So I made the egg batter, drenched my bread in that, and fried that up. And then for the arugula, I just did lemon, olive oil, salt, and pepper. Put that on top of the French toast. Top that with some Parmesan cheese and a fried egg. Also, highly recommend frying your eggs in harissa. Then he needed his hot sauce with that, and he had about 4 of those. I made him a cup of rooibos tea with some milk. You guys know the drill by now. Then for lunch, I ventured out and made some homemade pasta. This was definitely a labor of love. It took me 3.5 hours to form all these tiny pasta things, and Lucky ended up helping me because it just was taking really long. But it was definitely worth it. So then I put some prosciutto in the oven, blanched some peas and spinach, put that in the blender with some homemade pesto, some mint, and gave that a little blitz. I got it all smooth, and then I started on my Calabrian chili breadcrumbs. Once the sauce was all smooth, I seasoned it up with some lemon zest, lemon, put some cold butter in there and some salt, tossed the pasta in, put the breadcrumbs on top, the crispy prosciutto, and some Parmesan cheese, and there we go. Lucky was filming some stuff, so I brought it to him in our room, and he was so excited to try. Even though this took me so long, it was so worth it. It was really, really good. I obviously had to check whether it was any good and try a few bites, and it really was. So then he ended up having another plate after that, and then when dinner time rolled around, I decided to just make a quick roast chicken. So I spatchcocked some chicken, added some potato, carrot, onion to the baking tray. I also put some olive oil and salt on the chicken, put it in the oven while I made my cream and herb sauce that would go on top of the chicken. So then once it was golden brown, I pulled it out and put some chicken stock on the tray and smothered it in that cream herb sauce. Put it back in the oven while I sauteed some Swiss chard. Kept it really simple with some lemon and garlic, and then once the chicken was done, I assembled his plate.